Donkey Kong Show. Come on down and see the Donkey Kong Show. Got 412 barrels ready to roll. On your mark and ready and get set and ready now go. There's 17 fire beavers cruising around, so you better not be too slow. Try to come up and see a giant gorilla who's on swolls. Way atop the pie factory with Penelope your hoe. Floating hammers in the air and dangers everywhere. Try to reach the top and take me down if you dare. Donkey Kong Show. You know the rules. Enter the building one at a time. Good luck to you. All right, we got another show to tackle. A lot of ground to cover. I've got a new, I got a brand new outline here. I'm gonna start by my brother and his girlfriend are home. I didn't realize they came back last night. I went to bed early. Sorry, I was gonna do this show yesterday, but I was a little assed out after those undercards. The fights were decent, but I just worked on my book and I was just really faded after a nap. I felt like really low energy, so I just decided to wait till this morning. Got my lucky red hens hat on, and let me see. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I did drool a couple times during the second show. I wear a porcelain grill. Sometimes when I first put it in, it's still kind of greasy. Sorry about that. I'll try not to today. And I'm going to start with some Mount Carmel Sun Devil football lore. And I forgot to mention Jamon Bugs. I'm 33, 30 wins, 3 losses, and 9 draws with about 10 or 12 no contests in my street fights. But my second loss was to a kid named Jamon Bugs. And he was the goat of Sampa Squall. And I mentioned Marlon Carey. They were friends. Marlon was in 7th grade and going into 8th grade when I fought Jamon. And back to the Bonds and Penasquitas, we were playing tackle football on the cement. It was the third time. It was a very hot summer day. It was getting very chippy. Jamon Bugs and his buddy ripped off my skateboard the day before. Not that I could prove it, but I know they did. It was just way too obvious. They were being dicks. I was just fresh out of county mental health, where I hope Logan hasn't finished that part of the book. I hope he's finished the book Undigestible Food for the Mind. It's where that one left off, but I was about to start Palomar College that fall. Actually, I was considered not. I got hired at Anthony's as a busboy, even though I had real mangy dreadlocks, which saved my ass from during that fight and that football game, especially. Um, the third time it was almost turned into more of a rugby game. And speaking of that, go Legion! Our rugby Legion team is the number 1 seed, and they play at USD, the University of San Diego Toreros football stadium, and they're playing Seattle, the defending champs. We beat Seattle this year pretty easily. Or no, it was a pretty good beat there. But we got hopefully they could bring in the Major League Rugby crown. It's on 1 o'clock at CBS for anyone who wants to watch that. But anyways, yeah, it would almost be more of a rugby game. But it was really rough. I remember one time Jamon tackled me and my head hit the ground really hard, and I jumped up, even though it hurt like a motherfucker. I jumped up and got in his face. He was a little bit scared. Their Pop Warner team just won. They won in Orlando. They were undefeated. They had the Mount Carmel's goat, Marlon Carey, and Sampa Squall's goat, Jamon Bugs, and they won in Las Vegas, and then they won in Orlando, whatever team they played out there, I can't remember. And so that was pretty. They're a pretty awesome team, but it was hostile. The fight, and I'm trying to talk about how I have Tourette, a mild case of Tourette's. Mickey Mouse says I've never been diagnosed with it, but she's mapped out like all my chromosomes. And the one that's like deals with like social stuff, it's like 1/3 the size of a regular chromosome. It's all messed up. But the one that's deals with like creativity and language and stuff like it's one of those chromosomes. It's like almost 3 times the size as normal. Mickey Mouse has mapped out the whole thing, and I was testing in college level in the first test in 3rd grade, 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade. I tested above 12th grade in languages. I could write 3-page stories when I was in 2nd grade. But socially, I mean, I do have I'm not racist at all, but that was the first time I ever dropped an N-bomb. At first, Jamon was scared to fight me after the game. We were talking shit, and it was he didn't want to fight at first, and then even everyone who knows me back then knows I had more extra feelings for black people. I was a full on Rastafarian. I had dreadlocks. Have some of them were halfway down my back, but they're like kind of like bear paws and ducktails with little like Hasidic Jew looking dreads coming off of them. And it was a mess. I wore a Tams all the time, and but my head hit the ground and during that fight, but that cushion saved me. Also during the fight, it only lasted 38 seconds. Javon whipped my ass, but his bones were sticking out of his hand. He had a compound fracture. He ended up missing the whole. So he didn't even get into like the last couple of freshman games his freshman year because his hand was so fucked up. And luckily, some adults finally got back there. They wanted me because I opened up a jab with one jab. I opened up a cut on his eye with the first jab I threw, and then I kicked him in the side. But then he grabbed me by my dreads and had me down in the right hand. Boom, boom, and then so somebody's like, I jumped up real quick. I wasn't like knocked out or asleep or nothing, but I saw his bones sticking out of his hand, coming out of his you know, I knew he needed to go to the hospital. They were trying. I mean, I don't know if he would have threw a jab. I mean, I was seeing stars for like 2 months after that fight. It was pretty gory, but yeah, it was it could have been worse. But they were trying to get me to go after him. These little devil worshippers that were in Hessians, and this one kid who was going to be on Mount Carmel's freshman team, Corey Crouch, Robbie Crouch's little brother was trying to get me to go after him. And oh no, I'm gonna have to kick his ass. And I went in and I was watching him. I was all nicked up. But then his dad and a bunch of adults finally. His dad freaked out on me, but he asked if Jamon told him what I called him. He was scared to fight me at first, even though he was like 40 pounds bigger than me. He was 180. I was like 140 at the time. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, and him and Marlon Terry ended up. They were both the goats for their schools, and they probably crammed Jamon through the one hole probably 700 times with Coach Dolan. They didn't throw the ball much at all, and that his freshman year was the first of the second of a long losing streak. Wait, was it class? Oh yeah, that was going to be the class of '90 team, the class of '89. But we lost 19 in a row to San Pasquale. We don't like them much at all, but yeah, they can't. 19 in a row, but 90% of them were low scoring tearjerkers. Were still up for grabs in the fourth quarter. They blew out when Marlon Curry was a sophomore. They blew us out 52-20 or something like that. It was at our house, but our team that was right after Rancho Bernardo got built. Rancho Bernardo won CIF in their fourth year, but in the early days, they usually lost to Mount Carmel, even they're great teams that won championships. But our coach Bill Christopher went there for the '91 class of '91 team, the 1990s season. He only came back out of retirement for 3 years. He coached my senior year. I didn't play. I played Rancho Bernardo, Pop Warner, and I was done after that. I was gonna play my senior year, but I was academically ineligible. And I went out for spring football when I was a sophomore. I did score 3 touchdowns the last day of spring football, but it was all hazing me. Somebody started a rumor that I was gay, which was bullshit. I never even met. I had some drunk few experiments at San Diego State or whatever. But no, I'm not. At the time, I was just total bullshit. I think I know who did it. I'm not going to say names because I can't prove it. But anyways, I was trying out for volleyball, and I got cut in the second cut. That volleyball coach, Trisha Sola's older sister, Patsy Malta. That was our first volleyball. I didn't get in one practice game. I was made the first cut, but I played in a scrimmage game against Gompers, and we thought it was going to be it was a magnet school. We thought it was going to be a bunch of white boys that were scared to go to Lincoln or something. There was like maybe one white kid on their team. They came in cackling. They'd been doing club volleyball. This was the first year it was an actual a CIF sport, and they just mopped the floor with us. Our team actually ended up doing pretty good. I think they finished third or something in the Palomar League. It was pretty good. With those Beach Boys schools like Torrey Pines and San Diego and Carlsbad and shit. I think they combined it because not every school was playing volleyball at the time. But anyways, so I went out for football since I got cut from from the volleyball. And then the very first day, I missed the first Monday of spring football. But then Coach Andrewski set me down. Hey, Ricky, I'm gonna level with you. I heard somebody says you're a queer, and they're spreading rumors that you're a queer, and we don't. I don't want no faggots on my football team. And then I go, oh yeah, that's real great. You know, I already sat out my sophomore year because I was just burned on football. I didn't try JV. I was still maybe too small. I don't know. My freshman year, told you how I cut weight to play for Mr. Cortez's Pop Warner team, the junior midget, because I didn't want to play for Mr. Shantz again. I saw the writing on the wall. I knew it was going to be like my second year, and they only won 3 games. They went 3-6, and they got matched up pretty good. They were like our second year. They had Johnny T-Jack, but had too many. They were too small and too much, not enough numbers. Like my second year, our quarterback Derek Thurston sat out. He saw the writing on the wall, and we were pretty good. We only Beach Boys blew us out at Mount. My first 2 years, we played our home games at Poway and Mount Carmel. And the Torrey Pines was the only one that kicked the shit out of us, 36-6. That was the only time I got blown out in 4 years at Pop Warner. But yeah, so. But we only went 3-5-1. We tied Oceanside 0-0 in a scrimmage, and then Oceanside only beat us 14-7. Vista beat us 12-0. I mean, we won some good games. The good Poway team beat us, but they got a bullshit call. Johnny T-Jack. I was sick for the San Marcos. We beat San Marcos and lost to we beat San Marcos pretty easily, like every year. We fucked up San Marcos. It wasn't a big charge art yet, like it is now. It stretches out to Encinitas with cookie cutter hell. San Marcos was always a joke. But let me see. Yeah, but Johnny T-Jack ran over a Poway guy and they called spearing on him, even though that's bullshit. When do you see a running back get a spearing call? So we only lost to the good Poway team by like 1 point or something. We got a touchdown, pushed back 15 yards, and that drive fizzled out. But I always had a nasty cold. So I missed those two. Wasn't even at those 2 games. But the lights started to come on at the end of my season. I got to be captain against Ramona that year. We beat my buddy. That's the only time I played against Jamie Gardner when he was on Ramona. But we beat Ramona by about a couple touchdowns. It wasn't an impressive win. That was the second to last game. I got to be captain. It started to come on, but anyways, I'm digressing now. What was I going to say about Jamon Buggs? Well, yeah, he and Marlon Carey, after Marlon graduated, Jamon would have had all kinds of Division I offers, but he got horrible grades, and he was playing for College of the Desert, and him and Marlon Carey went up to a reggae concert in Los Angeles, and they beat the fuck out of some people in a fight. Marlon didn't do as much, and Jamon was pissed at him for a while. For cooperating. He thought he was being a snitch. But Jamon did a year and a half in prison. I guess he fucked some people up pretty bad, and he had beef with Marlon after that. And Marlon, after his senior, he's our GOAT. He got 1,865 yards and over 5 touchdowns 1 year, and 25 his senior year, and 28 touchdowns his junior year. And they were 5-5, only 5-5 his senior year. But I told you about how they romped Ricky Williams, Patrick Henry. Then they went down and destroyed a 10-0 Bonita Vista team who was a number 2 seed. But then he got injured against Poway in the semifinals, and we lost to Poway 7-0. Marlon Carey got hurt on the second carry. He came back and at the end, but he was all gimpy. He ended up getting like 40-something yards, but he shouldn't even have been going out there, and he was all fucked up. You could see. But anyways, he had a scholarship to go to USC, but they found out the physics teacher cheated his grade, so he ended up going to Georgia, and the coaches didn't like him. After a couple in his sophomore year, he ended up ripping off a phone and got kicked out of there, and he was going to Palomar. Actually, when I went back to Palomar in 1996, he was just fucking around out there, and he was calling himself a different name because he was so embarrassed. And he had a girlfriend who had had a baby with his girlfriend. Had some problems, but She had a baby, and he had Down syndrome. And this one guy who was in my class, who was on one of Marlon's teams, he was going to Weber State. He was like a senior at Weber State. He was actually in my African Studies class when I got kicked out of Palomar. That other time I told you about when I had a crib a half a mile from Palomar. When I got kicked out, I freaked out. I did like 14 bong hits, and I forgot I had an oral report that night. There was this weird, obnoxious Jew boy from New York City, and that guy from I forget his name. I think he was one of those Payne boys. There's a tribe of Payne brothers, and he had this kid that like, come on, get him, Ricky. I didn't get kicked out for all the me and this obnoxious Beastie Boys loving Jewish kid from New York City. Where he started like heckling me. I heckled him during his. I don't know what the hell was my problem. One time I went to that class on mushrooms, and I kept my mouth shut to the very end, and I started babbling. But no, it was just later when um yeah, well, I didn't get kicked out during a report. He just gave me a C, even though I totally spaced. I hadn't even prepared this thing. I was just shooting from the hip. It was about Haile Selassie. I ended up getting kicked out. Oh, well, anyways, I'm digressing back to my days at Palomar. But this kid was the one who got that guy in a headlock. He was going to Weber State. We're out. Rashid Shaheed, from our team, our silver medal team 4 seasons ago. He's playing for Weber State now. Got a lot of Mount Carmel boys go to Weber State. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo too. But he's leading. Rashid Shaheed is a track star. He set the CIF record for the 200 meters, and he's a real fast kid. He was a running back. Oh, and our quarterback from that year, Lucas Johnson. They were both on that one program I showed you. I don't have all the props out today, but Lucas had an injury. He blew out his knee last year. He redshirted. He's only a sophomore. But he's the starting quarterback for Georgia Tech this year. And I never thought we'd live to see a silver medal. We got one. We lost to a good Helix team with Chuck Cecil. We only lost to them by 9-6 when I was in 7th grade. But anyways, so things didn't work out for Marlon. He only got 15 carries for 52 yards, and he ended up robbing a bank in Carmel Mountain Ranch. The one of the employees was his friend's aunt, and they kidnapped her. And for special circumstances, he got 108 years. He tried to pass a note to the judge asking for permit or for probation. He was like didn't understand what he was facing. And the judge didn't really appreciate that. So all the other guys snitched on him. Instead of getting out of town, his share was 75,000, and he just got a glossy apartment in Carlsbad, even though he wasn't working. They caught him like a couple weeks or a month later, and that's pretty sad. But it's even more fucked up for Jamon. I talked about this in a post. I know for the people on my career limiting Facebook post, this group probably seen this, but yeah, the Jamon Bugs is just got accused. He was already in jail for burglary up in Orange County Jail for a burglary that he's suspected of. I think it was in Irvine or something. But he led the police on a crazy high speed chase through Irvine, and they suspected it. Yeah, was in somebody's apartment and fired a shot. He went on a Grand Theft Auto style wild chase with the police after him, and then they caught him. But then they found a stiff of this chick and a guy who played for the San Diego Gulls, our hockey team, who almost reached the conference finals. As far as they've been in the American hockey, they big up to the Gulls. But this guy played 13 years of NFL. I'm not NFL. AHL hockey, and they found his stiff with this chick who Jamon Bugs was last seen in an Orange County saloon, coming out at 3 in the morning, and they found both their stiffs shot totally OJ'd, and so Jamon Bugs is probably never going to get out of prison. Well, that was a long fable. So let's see what else. Yeah, I was gonna. Wow. Yeah, I just saw an article. My favorite got gamed up. I just saw an article online. It was about Marlon Carey's team when he was a junior. They tied in the first game. They tied number 2 Carson was ranked #2 in the country by USA Today, and we tied them 7-7. Marlon only ended up, he didn't have hardly any yards the first half, and he finished with about 90 yards that game, I remember. But they blocked 2 field goals. We had me and a Whopper, one I call Whopper, his brother Vince, and Nick Faircombe. We had to sit on Carson's side because in those days it was so good. They were so good. Even in 1 year after Marlon graduated, they reached semifinals 3 years in a row. So that was about the heyday of Mount Carmel football in the mid '90s. The class of '92, class of '92, '93, and '94 teams were pretty badass. Oh no, actually the class of '93, '94. Oh well, whatever. It was mid '90s, but they blocked 2 short field goals, and all of that. One guy that I told you about, they went to Weber State. He almost ran one back, but they shoestring tackled him on the second blocked field goal, and then that was the end of the game. Yeah, we went crazy. And out in the parking lot, there were these 2 Samoans who were about to go after these Filipino guys from the North Side Blood Gang, and they all 6 of them pulled up their shirts like that, and they all had matching holsters. And these Samoan guys out in the parking lot were like, "Oh my God, where the fuck are we?" And yeah, their whole team, they were nasty. They had over 100 kids on their team. Some of them had the same numbers and stuff. They're almost all brothers. They had a little bit of Samoans and a few essays and odd Asians, a couple white boys. But yeah, they were a pretty scary team. That was their most impressive win. And Marlon Terry's team went 8-1-1. But yeah, so okay, what are we going to talk about next? Yeah, I could talk about that. Yeah, while we're on the subject of Sun Devil football, that night when we ended that snide was the night I learned about my movie deal. Though we would have ended this snide 3 years earlier. Tampa Squall's team went to hell, but the games were getting chippy, so they stopped scheduling it for 3 years. They were starting to. When Darren Spence took over, he was the worst coach in Mount Carmel history. He took over after we had Willie Snead from the NA. He was on the Jets practice team, and he starred at Florida. I think his son's on the New Orleans Saints. But 1 year after Gary Jolk's last 0-10 team, that's the only time we ever went winless in the 2002 season. But in 2003, it was this year after I graduated. Willie Snead coached us for 1 year, but too bad they wouldn't give him a PE. I wanted him to get a teaching credential, or so he wanted to stay there. Even though he saw the writing on the wall, the next year the team was going to suck. Darren Spence is getting down from Santa Clara. He's from up north, Fresno. He played Fresno. He's a big 400-pound slob. His teams were pathetic mostly. I mean, he did pull off a big upset over the Goblins. It was the only time I ever went to a game with my brother and one of his friends, and my mom went to that one. It was at the Goblin Cave, and we were down 21-0 before we could blink. But we were up by 24-0 at halftime and held on for dear life. But Poway, give props to that Goblins team. They finished second to Carlsbad. They actually went on for a silver medal. We got blown the fuck out by Ramona the next week, and lost to the Hoover Cardinals in the first round of the playoffs. Even though we got some really scandalous calls against us that game. But anyways, it was a pretty crazy. What was I on about? Oh yeah, but the night that they ended that was Matt Rochell's team. He had the third best season. He had 1,685 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns. But Matt Rochell was actually a running back. But since Nick Vasco wasn't really ready to be a starter. This was in 2010, and it's 3 years after I started working on my book. And 3 years after, I was only probably working on the third book at the time. And Mickey Mouse had broke into my maybe I was I think I was working on the third book. Mickey Mouse actually went into my I don't know, she probably had a key or something, but Mickey Mouse went in and took my first book and took it up to Los Angeles without even telling me. And Jim, this one tweaker apartment manager, Jimmy, he was like, oh, always trying to get me kicked out at first, because I was friends with that Jay Loke, the Samoan Crip. Well, he's actually his dad as an essay, but he kind of disregarded his essay side. He was a neighborhood Crip of East Dago Crip, and he fucking yeah, he was a real cool guy. He got pretty nostalgic when he got drunk. His daughter was born right when I moved there in June of 2000, June 1st, 2000 and 2000. And that was a couple of days before Mickey Mouse put that my little snowman. Where is he? Show you my snowman. You remember him? That was when Mickey Mouse put it on that's my 12 Grimald Street apartment. And yeah, Jay was a cool friend. Uh, he just hadn't been back very long. He had to go to Hawaii. He was accused in a murder. Oh, I'm not going to get into his business, but they didn't have enough evidence, and supposedly he wedded some of Skyline Pop Pyru guy at the College Grove bowling alley. But he had to go to live with his relatives in Hawaii for 9 years, and he was just coming back. That happened in his court thing was in. He went to CYA and he'd gone to prison. He was a real trip. He was yeah, he was gnarly. But what am I cackling about? Oh yeah, it was Jerry Jokes lasted. I was back in that era. I was still going to San Diego. It was my last football semester at San. It took me 3.5 years, but I only went part time in my last 2 semesters. Really 3 years, but whatever. I did real good there. I told you, but yeah, that team went. Oh, they were basically a junior varsity. And oh yeah, and Westview just got built. Westview got built. In the let's see, they were built like in 2002 or something, 2003 maybe. Oh yeah, they only had JV during the Gary Jokes first year. Willie Sneed was UC. We fucked him up like 30 something to Willie Sneed's first year. Then they didn't. Westview didn't have seniors, but we beat them like 35-7 or something at our house the first game. But yeah, Willie Sneed would have been a cool coach, but too bad. They got rid of Darren Spence the same way. They weren't gonna rehire. It wasn't anything. They had to get rid of him anyways. He went 1-9 2 years in a row. And those teams weren't really his fault. They were pretty sorry. But his best team was 5-5. That was the one that pulled off that upset on Poway. We've only beaten Poway twice in like quite a while. You know, we won our very first game was against Poway at Mount Carmel in 1974, but we've only beaten Poway 12 times in all these years since. It's more a problem in the trenches. We can deal with. You know, Poway only started having their first 1,000-yard rushers like in the early 2000s. It was the first one. I mean, we could get them on the speed and the quicks, but they get us in the trenches. But anyways, that night when they ended the snide, that was Matt Rochelle. They were just basically 2 plays. Matt Rochelle left, Matt Rochelle right. He fumbled 3 times, but then on the PPR even said it looked like we had missed out on a goal line stand. We had Poway on the ropes that year. But oh, that was the best night of my life. One of them when we ended the night against San Pasquale. We beat them by 10, but their team had like a 22-game losing streak going in. It would have ended it at least 2 years before, but they took it off. Then we can't play San Pasquale now. We haven't played them since this is going to be 4 years in a row that we're not scrimmaging there. I'm glad to see. I checked the schedule. We're scrimmaging Eastlake, a powerhouse from South Bay, but we actually beat Eastlake the last time we played them. The year after Lucas Johnson got that silver medal, we went 7-5, and our girl kicker hit a game winner. And Eastlake was terrible that year. Half their team transferred to Modern Day, another new school, which used to be called Marian Catholic, who went 0-10 or 1-9 every year back in the day. But they're scrappy as hell, from what I hear. But now they've moved to Chula. Marian Catholic moved to Chula Vista, and they're called Mater Dei now, fighting on that powerhouse from Santa Ana. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, that was the greatest night. And then that was when Mickey Mouse came with Auntie Nima. I've talked a little bit about Auntie Nima, the 13th degree black belt. And I saw her doing this thing where they do all those routines, like chopping blocks of wood and stuff. She was protecting me from bullies. She moved down here when I was in fourth grade, Auntie Nima, and her sister Angela was in a lot of my classes in elementary at Westwood Elementary School. And her sister Angela always seemed to hate me, but Auntie Nima was chopping those blocks, and she went and finished second place on that CrossFit like martial arts thing, and she had like a career of like gnarly one-on-one competition, whatever they do with the karate. And she had a self-defense course, self-defense studio down in College area, close to where I live. So it was about 55th Street or some. She owns a self-defense studio down there, and she moved me to Compassion on my 39th birthday. But this when that's why I ended up going to the meeting place called. I'll talk more about the meeting place called in a little bit. On my 39th birthday, she moved me to Compassion. I'm not going to say what the insult was. It's pretty embarrassing, but she took a bunch of her students. This is a year before that snide ended. She took a bunch of her self-defense students. They knew I was, because Mickey Mouse had cameras in my last apartment all over the place. She got him in on the one of the first days I moved in there. She had she gets the kind that the NSA only has. They're undetectable. She already had them in my mom's house before I moved over here, everywhere, just to keep an eye on my mom. I mean, this is about national security shit. Mickey Mouse is in charge of me for the sending of police. I mean, remember, I'm the only thing holding the love triangle between Israel, England, and the United States together. I'm the only thing, like the last thing to, you should all pray for, hope for long life for me, because I'll get more into that. I'm going to talk about how I got this two-way mirror with the TV. Like I was the one they called Haile Selassie, the juror on the OJ trial. Lancito wouldn't even take that case unless he got a $2 million deal from Sony. He refused to take it, but yeah, that's when they were first testing out the webcam technology. My buddy Vink, he was an engineer at Sony, but even back then he was still going to San Diego State heavily into that. But I asked him if they had the technology to put to where your TV could see what you're doing. And the soccer game's about to start. Sorry, I got it muted. Yeah, he said definitely for sure. That's when they were first starting to. What do you think they spent $8 billion on switching everything to satellite? They could turn any TV on if they want. And you've seen 1984. That's like the goal. Like when the budget gets so bad and the prisons are so overcrowded or it's just becomes too expensive. They're gonna have a massive home house arrest program. I'm sure it's not too far away, but anyways, just confirm that. But yeah, that night Yama, that's when he. Oh no, that was the year I got kicked out. That was the night Mickey Mouse. I mean, they beat San Pasqual by 10. We had a huge bench clearing brawl. San Pasqual can't handle it. Like now, after Lucas's team beat them twice, they stopped making us play San Pasqual for the year we won the silver. This is gonna be 4 years in a row that we can't play them, because when we start beating them, it's a fight every fourth play. When we start kicking their house, they go nuts. Dude. That's why they had a bench clearing brawl. They couldn't handle it, because after that long night, those kids were so affected. But there was some chippy games after that. Trust me, they got back at us in a big way the next year over at their house. And I'll talk more about that team. They had, well, I'm going on too much tangents here. Well, it's already 35 minutes. I'm still on the first thing. Oh, she was going to hook me up with Priya Ray, too. I was on, for that day, when my 39th birthday, I kicked off after Nima moved me to Compassion. I'm glad I didn't take the bait. She was actually willing to go to jail. Like, who knows how long. I mean, she would have made a pudding out of me. I wouldn't want to fuck with her, dude. She's gnarly. But, so I ended up going on a 2-week binge drinking. my mom unloaded a lot of money on me. I probably got about 400 for my birthday, and I had my own money, so I was drinking a bottle of Kettle One and a 12 pack of Newcastle pretty much every day, except a couple of days for 2 weeks. And then that day on my 39th birthday, I learned this thing I wouldn't have fucking this chick who used to work at this black chick who was homeless. I don't even remember. I rose from the dead and they quit monitoring me. Mickey Mouse and it was my 39th birthday, and the Aztecs lost to UCLA that day. And this black guy out the year before, this Tia Henderson, this running back, he broke his back, and I cursed him and even told him, "You're gonna break your back in the first game against UCLA." I was like, "Fucking!" I don't know how I was getting into. I was losing a lot of weight. I wasn't doing so good, but I ended up just. Luckily, I never fought that guy because I heard he was like some of his losses in practice were more impressive than some of his wins. Like, he was like supposedly pretty huge. He went to high school in Rancho Cucamonga, and he did pretty good. That's going to be his sophomore year. He was pretty good on there. That was Brady Hoke's first year. It was his sophomore year, but yeah, he broke his back just like they called it out. That was creepy, man. I put a real abracadabra curse on him, and it hit. Oh, it stuck. Trust me, it stuck. He must have been horrified, dude. I felt awful because I ended up squashing it with him before that season started. But earlier in the summer, yeah, I remember I was coming back. I went down. I rode the bus down to by Lincoln High School. I was cruising around, and probably walked like I was like doing some crazy. I got down to 160. That was the first year I really got after it. I got down to 160 from 202 pounds, and let me see. I was coming back from a field trip. I got off the trolley and was walking back, and I ran into a T. And oh man, you always catch me when I'm at the end of an 8 mile walk or something. You know, dude, and that was when we squashed it. So I'm glad about that. But anyways, from that 2000 class of 2010 team, they ended the night. And Mickey Mouse was gonna hook me up with Priya Ray, the Indian porn star. Remember, she's a porn legend. She's been with over 5,000 men. She claimed that was like years ago, but I don't know if she's still doing it. Auntie Nemo was a porn legend too. She's done some raw stuff. Oh my god! But she got all of her shit scrubbed off the internet. I haven't seen any free shit with Auntie Nemo in a while. She was gnarly, but I'm digressing. Yeah, there. I guess for some reason Priya Ray found out. I don't want to get too into this stuff. For another time, I'll talk about it. But I was stoked. I never even heard of Priya Ray, but I had seen some of her videos, but I just wasn't familiar with her. She was kind of new at that time, but it didn't work. Oh, Mickey Mouse got pissed because I already, by cackling him out across that sandwich wall, I kind of blew some of her. She had $1 million bet with her mafia friend. She runs like her own casino out of her website. She claims it for her. It's religious freedom because she's Zoroastrian or something. She's into that. That's like one of her religions. She was raised Catholic. Her dad was Mickey Mouse's dad was Jewish and her mom was Assyrian, but her mom converted. Her dad was like half Oreo and half Persian. The Jew. The dad was really sweet. He's a really nice guy, but he was a little more kicked back. When her mom was pretty aggravated. Her mom died in 2003, though. It's sad. I'm not really sure. But her mom was pretty brutal. Her mom was very roughed her up. I feel sorry for her, but yeah, she. So that was the night. I thought it was the happiest night of my life. I was some of those Penasquito's ass wipes, man. Some of those parents were really affected, man. When I was telling them, this one old guy with this one called, so his dad's son was on the team. He was blaming me that Sam Spall's fight. Oh, fuck you, man. That's on them. They can't handle it, man. They're in a reptile room because they can't handle that lose being the class that lost that 19-year game snide. You know, and they treated me like shit a lot. For 30 years, I went until that night, that 2013, when I fucked that coach up. I gave him 30 years, but I was using them as a piece of Toronto. I don't know if I'd move. I don't think I'd move to Penasquito if I came up. If I was going to go back to the Death Star, I'd move to the trails in Rancho Bernardo if I hit a jackpot. Penasquitos is by far the most ghetto out of the three main Death Star. No, but I love it. I still consider that my homeland, of course, dude. I'm not saying that. I just went out on my own terms. That was when I still didn't know Yama was Mickey Mouse's cousin. He must have been a freshman that year. Yeah, he was. That's right. Because he got called up the next year. Was a pretty demoralized year, and that team was. That's sad because that team was they were 8-2 as freshmen. They're 9-1 on JV. They beat Oceanside when they were on junior varsity, so they were pretty gnarly. But yeah, man, I'm digressing. The game's already start 8 minutes in. Well, it's 40 minutes. Let's see. Well, I'll probably. Hmm. Yeah, but anyways, Mickey Mouse ended up getting so pissed. She did bring Priya Ray, so I heard her talking outside of my apartment in college area. And then this was 2 weeks later. Mickey Mouse warned me that I got because I had sex with this chick Rochelle, this black chick, but she claimed I raped her, but I don't think it was. Mickey Mouse actually accepted a plea deal. You know, she's my lawyer. She never even told me until 2 weeks that night of the She told me if you could go 2 more weeks and get off probation, I got a surprise for you. And I was busy with that meeting place, but no, I would have fought that. I remember getting like stuck in her. I was like splashed. I still had some more alcohol, but I was blacked out. And she turned to, yeah, I remember I got stuck inside her, and she started like wailing on me or something. And I just got kind of rough, but I wouldn't have called that rape. She would just saw it as a jackpot or something. And she did it for $20. I don't even remember. And then I saw the $20 bill, and I'm like, whoa. So um, she ran out and threw left the $20 bill there. But then I came out of the CVS behind my house, and when she got in my face, like, that was it. I got surgery, and I went to, and then I dropped an N bomb on her that time because I didn't even remember. I didn't even remember hooking up with her. And I go, "What's on my What the fuck is the poster on my wall?" I put a post. I had a Kim Kardashian poster. I replaced my trendy Scarface, with the machine gun thing. And she had told me that she hadn't watched much TV, and keeping up with the Kardashians was kind of new then. But she said it enough to where I know, whoa, I blacked out. I couldn't even remember, but then the memories started coming back. Well, anyways, I would have fought that, but Mickey Mouse didn't trust the judges. She got somehow worked out a plea deal. This is this is why they were trying to. I'll get into it later. But I just started the meeting place. I didn't. I just went to this. I didn't go to the. I tried to go to the hospital, but they set up an appointment to go to Vista Balboa, which is where I went after I lost my Dito apartment, and I went to Vista Balboa for 9 days in, and then to the Lakeside Lodge, that Cal Chris Lodge, the boarding care over on the other side of Lakeside, on a little bit grubbier side, but it was a nice neighborhood. It looked like the old part of La Mesa over by College area. It even looked like Lower Poway kind of. But anyways, that was a good. That was a trip. String bean. Yeah, she was pissed that. What tipped it off is when with 2 days left in that 2 weeks though, when I had to do good. I was only going to work at the theater and meeting place. I came home and I was like getting real cabin fever. And the second to last night, I sent a fucking email. And remember, these people watch everything I do, every fucking thing. The government, whoever her squirrely friends are, all kinds. She charges people. Yama told me that night when I found out about the movie deal. She actually fucking charges people to watch me through these cameras, like A-list celebrities. She even showed Mickey Mouse even showed me an email that from Angelina Jolie that she wants to play ISIS in those movies, and it would look legit to me. I know she's been in she's the witch in that quarantine movie. I'm the baby. Yama told me that whole quarantine movie was a metaphor for my life. I couldn't believe it. I recognized that it was Mickey Mouse and about the baby. It's him. I didn't know the whole when I saw it in the theater a few years back. I didn't know that the whole movie was a metaphor for my life. That's scary. That movie is fucking horrifying. But anyways, yeah. So with 2 weeks left, I sent an email to Kamala Kapoor, my lovely teacher, my Indian teacher from Grossmont College, and she saved me from. Without her, I wouldn't have got into San Diego State. I was getting all dusted out with the Craig, the homeboys in Lemon Grove. I smoked dust with them a couple of days before I was coming a bad come down from hadn't done any go fast in 6 years with the evil leprechaun. The evil leprechaun. I'm not gonna say his name, but I've talked about him in that career limiting Facebook post. More on him and how he fucked off my apartment down in Lemon Grove badly for me. And yeah, but I sent her Miss Kapoor an email, and she's not gonna talk. I hooked up with her when I was at Grossmont College. I shagged her out. She seduced me. She was like 44 years old. I was 24, and I got her kicked out of Grossmont. Well, she got herself kicked out on Grossmont. She was giving me head, but I was nervous, and the director of the English department just ran across the hall. This is crazy. I'm trying to tell her, and she still don't take responsibility for that. One time I saw her years later down in Mission Beach, and she was like fucking with me. She didn't want to talk to me, and that's fine. I get that, but she got to put some of the blame on herself, man. I was just a squirrely college kid. I mean, she got to own that. And I did before they kicked her out. They let her do one more semester. They let her finish the year. I'd been in her mythology class, 2 bonehead English classes, and then a writing class of the advanced writing, whatever the most advanced writing is at Grossmont. And then I got A+s in all of her classes, but at least she was objective, didn't hold that against me. Her marriage got fucked off, and because of that, and she got kicked out of Grossmont. But anyway, it was I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, like why I thought she was gonna want to talk to me after all the problems I caused her, that whole situation or whatever. She never responded to the email. She's married to some old bloke now. I don't know if she's even still alive. Well, she's in her almost my mom's age, but who knows? I haven't looked her up in a while or stuff. She got a lot of books published, poetry books and stuff. Kamala Kapoor, she was a sweetheart. But anyways, yeah, that's why. And then so Mickey Mouse only won $250,000. Most people I know would be elated to win $250,000. She was pounding on my door. I just got home from the fucking movie theater. I was passed out. It wasn't even. I don't know. Freya Ray came into the theater a couple times. Oh, and a couple at the year before that. It wasn't that Matt Rochelle team. It was 2 years after the Matt Rochelle team. They were scrimmaging Eastlake, and I rode the bus all the way down, and she had some. Freya Ray had some kind of mafia stuff. And I was just joking. This time I totally would have hooked up with her. She came in. She had a lipstick camera on her purse. And I'm just like when I hooked up with Raylene, the porn star, the first time I went to Adelita's Hoosh down in Tijuana. That'll be another story. I don't want to. That was on my last outline. I didn't get to that. So I'll talk about that another time. This was my very first semester at State, and so Priya went down to caught me at the Carl's Jr. in Eastlake. Carl's Jr. by Eastlake High School. And I was just joking. I go, "You want to go watch the scrimmage game instead?" We go later. And she goes, "No, fuck no. I don't have time for that." She had a hotel or something somewhere. And then I go, "Well, let me just eat. Can I eat this first?" She goes, "Just come outside." And I go, "Oh, this is the hood." And I guess there must have been some time limit on it or something. She walked out crying. Okay, I was just joking. I said, but that other time I wasn't pushing out because I didn't. If I went outside that first time she brought, I heard her Mickey Mouse was going to give her $200. She offered. She pre-arranged, came all the way out from Arizona. They were having a gnarly. They almost sounded like they were about to fight. And pre-arranged. Mickey Mouse said, "What, you think I'm some Jewish bitch or something like that?" And she goes, "I don't know. It seems like it or something like to that effect." And I was just afraid if I would have opened the door that time, Mickey Mouse was gonna chop my face up like that bitch she would in that quarantine movie or something. But yeah, I only got the first, so that's all that. Okay, I got through one thing on my outline of 7. It's already been 50 minutes. I'm gonna get into this soccer game, but maybe I'll twirl a fourth one later or something. Just that part took a while to cackle out, but glad I did a good job on it. And so, all right, Donkey Kong Show, you know the rules. Enter the building one at a time. Good luck to you.